Okay, what have you done?
Right, so we've updated a section of our post-1945 gallery, specifically the period post-1989, looking at the end of the Cold War and the beginning of the new era, where Canadians were deployed around the world. So we're looking at deployments, specifically those in the Gulf War, Somalia, Rwanda, former Yugoslavia, and Afghanistan.
And what can you say about the significance of this period in Canadian military history?
Right, well, we kind of chart a course from a period where there was high hopes for international cooperation, and that seemed to be crystallized by the cooperation and work that was done to reverse the invasion of Kuwait in the Gulf War, through to a much more complex period where we're looking at wars within states. So the response to things that we hadn't seen in a long time, such as famine and the intentional war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, ethnic cleansing that we encountered in Rwanda and former Yugoslavia, and not with the tools that were developed in the Cold War that didn't quite work. So this movement from kind of a peacekeeping model to a peace enforcement model, and just when that seemed to be reaching a kind of an equilibrium, we had the 9/11 attacks, which led us into a new era of conflict, and specifically counterinsurgency and counterterrorism. So there's a lot of different experiences that we're trying to encapsulate in these new displays, but we think we charted a course of kind of how we got to today based on where we'd been.
This has been kind of a rebirth this last decade in particular, the last 15 years for the Canadian forces, has it not?
Yeah, definitely. There was a very large period of reform that took place following the Cold War. I mean, obviously different missions, different mandate, different requirements, and a lot of work that was done to define a new role for the Canadian forces and define a new role for Canada in the world based on what the requirements were. And that had impacts at home, but as well as overseas. So Canada's capabilities changed during that time period, and the perceptions of the military changed from kind of the lows that took place in the 1990s with some of the budget issues and the aftermath of the Somalia inquiry, to the highs and great public confidence in the Canadian military and its capabilities that were established during the Afghanistan war. So I think every era has its challenges, and the new exhibitions chart what some of those challenges are.